Chemical reaction and equations. Chemical reactions. A chemical reaction occurs when one or more reactants are changed into one or more products. The constituent atoms of the reactants are rearranged in a chemical reaction, resulting in the formation of various substances as products. Physical and chemical changes. Chemical change. One or more new substances with new physical and chemical properties are formed. Here, when copper sulfate reacts with iron, two new substances, i.e., ferrous sulfate and copper, are formed. Different atoms. A chemical reaction is a process that causes one set of chemical components to change into another. Chemical reactions are defined as changes in the locations of electrons in the formation and breaking of chemical bonds between atoms, with no change in the nuclei, and are described using a chemical equation. At a given temperature and chemical concentration, chemical reactions occur at a predictable rate. Reaction speeds often increase as the temperature rises because more thermal energy is available to attain the activation energy required to break bonds between atoms. Types of chemical reactions. Taking into consideration different factors, chemical reactions are grouped into multiple categories. A few examples are filled circle combination, filled circle decomposition, filled circle single displacement, filled circle double displacement, filled circle redox, filled circle endothermic, filled circle exothermic, filled circle precipitation, filled circle neutralization. Word equation. A word equation is a chemical reaction expressed in words rather than chemical formulas. It helps identify the reactants and products in a chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is described using a word equation, which is a shorthand manner of expressing it. The names of the reactants are shown on the left side of a word equation. If there is more than one reactant, the names of the reactants are separated by a plus sign, plus. Products are shown on the right side of a word equation. If there is more than one product, the names of the products are separated by a plus sign, plus. For example, sodium plus chlorine, right pointing arrow, sodium chloride. The above equation means sodium reacts with chlorine to form sodium chloride. Balancing of a chemical reaction. Law of conservation of mass. According to the law of conservation of mass, no atoms can be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction, so the number of atoms for each element on the reactant side has to balance the number of atoms that are present on the product side. In other words, the total mass of the products formed in a chemical reaction is equal to the total mass of the reactants participating in a chemical reaction. Balanced chemical equation. The chemical equation in which the number of atoms of each element on the reactant side is equal to that of the product side is called a balanced chemical equation. Thank you for watching. Continue for part 2.